Mobile content is content that is generally added to a server application. It is downloaded from server to client, and it runs on the client side. And the whole purpose of this mobile content is to improve the feature richness of the client's experience as he's connected to that server in a session. So mobile code is, again, generally a good thing for the clients. We want the cartoons, and we want the bells and the whistles, and the dynamic nature of our session on the server. But at the same time, this is an excellent way for a bad guy to distribute his malware. So mobile code and active content is quite dangerous. It has to be carefully scrutinized and controlled. Otherwise, this is how a great deal of malware gets distributed. Some examples of active content in mobile code are the Java applets, ActiveX controls, macros, and even email attachments that are executables. So these are forms of mobile code and active content. Again, they get downloaded to the client side and run client side. Some of the malware that can be introduced by this mobile code is at the very bottom bullet: the Trojans, the backdoors, viruses, worms, and other forms of malicious code. ActiveX is a Microsoft creation. Again, this is an extension of the COM grandfather, as we had described earlier. ActiveX is Microsoft's implementation of their mobile code, and again, while it provides feature-rich content, it is very often a vehicle for the distribution of malware. So Microsoft has introduced a technology called Authenticode to try and secure ActiveX controls. This screen shows us the Authenticode query for a particular ActiveX control. You can configure your browser to either allow all ActiveX controls, to prompt you, which is a warning if the control is not signed, or to block it if it's not signed. Now, the way Authenticode works is you would write an ActiveX control, you would ship that ActiveX control to Microsoft along with a check, and they will actually test it to make sure there's no malware, and then digitally sign your ActiveX control. Now you can install that on your web server, and all the client's browsers that are configured to either warn or block if it's not signed, these will now automatically accept your Microsoft approved, authenticated ActiveX control. Now the downside of Authenticode is it does not quarantine the ActiveX control. In other words, it doesn't isolate that piece of software. That software is still there on your system. It's just the operating system is disallowing, and I say operating system, the browser application is disallowing its execution. By the way, ActiveX can only be run natively in Internet Explorer. I hear there's an add-on for Firefox to allow ActiveX controls, but this type of content is really optimized for the Internet Explorer browser.